everyone. This is the Buttercup Podcast where we talk about early childhood topics. My guest today is Dr. Timothy Askew, and he is a tenured full professor of English and Humanities at Clark Atlanta University. Dr. Askew holds a BA degree from Morehouse College, Summa Cum Laude, with Phi Beta Kappa distinction as a junior year inductee. He received his master's degree at Yale University. Dr. Askew was an NCEA Doctoral Fellow in the English Department in the University of South Florida, pursuing an interdisciplinary degree in American Studies and focusing on American literature and American music. He received the Ph.D. degree at Emory University and had the distinction of being the first Ph.D. Marshal at the university. Oh, that's awesome. He's the recipient of numerous awards, including a 4-year academic scholarship, Morehouse College, Reader's Digest Foundation Scholar, Morehouse College, University Fellowships, Yale University, National Consortium for Educational Access Doctoral Fellowship, the University of South Florida, University Fellowships, Emory University, the United Negro College Fund Dissertation Fellowship, Teacher of the Year, Clark Atlanta University, the N.A.A.C.P. N.A.A.C.P. Image Award for Excellence in Teaching English, Clark Atlanta University, National Endowment for the Humanities Scholar, and more. Wow, you have amazing awards, and this is so fun to talk to you. Dr. Askew is the founding president of Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society at Clark Atlanta University and a sustaining member of Phi Beta Kappa. He is the author of multiple books. Dr. Askew is the 2017 C. Eric Lincoln Scholar at Clark Atlanta University, one of the highest honors bestowed on a professor at the university. On May 22, 2019, Dr. Askew received the highest honor bestowed on a faculty member at Clark Atlanta University, the Aldridge McMillan Award for overall excellence in teaching, research, and service. Dr. Askew was named the Mellon Scholar February 2020. Thank you so much for being with me today.
It's a pleasure. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I got to meet you when you came to the University of Nebraska, Kearney, and your talk was amazing. And we got to learn so much about you and about your scholarship and your work as an educator. How did you get started as an educator?
Well, I'll tell you, my 7th grade teacher, Mrs. Mary Lockwood, was the first white teacher to integrate my predominantly Black elementary school. Lived in a predominantly Black neighborhood. And I had other excellent teachers at the school, but she was just so wonderful. She was the person you just woke up and wanted to come to school and learn. And so watching her day after day teach and inspire and tell all of us that we could be anything. Of course, my mom and dad did that, but I'm talking about in the classroom. It was a laboratory for learning about different cultures and different experiences. And I knew, I remember running home to my mother and father, who were older parents, their only child, and they were older. And I said, Mama and Daddy, I want to be a teacher just like Miss Lockwood. And they said, that's very good, son. So I knew that I really wanted to be a teacher because of her, you know, some type of teacher. And I'm so glad that I've done it and am doing it.
That is so cool. I think we all have a Mrs. Lockwood in our life.
Yes.
And it's so neat to be able to reflect on those people who made such a meaningful difference in our lives.
And I hope that someone will reflect on me someday when I'm, you know, out of the picture, and they'll just say, that man was, you know, I learned a lot from him and he was kind. To me, those things mean so much, you know.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Well, and they have, because you've gotten awards to show for it.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. Yes, very grateful.
And sometimes we don't get awards or accolades, but we know we make a difference when we just see their faces.
I know.
Class, and it's just, we're so lucky to be in this kind of a profession.
Yes, so lucky.
Well, Can you talk a little bit about the scholarly work you do and the Lift Every Voice and Sing scholarship?
Yes. So I just think that people are called to do things. I really believe, and I'm not trying to preach or anything like that. I'm a great believer in God. And I just believe that God puts us in places where we're supposed to be. And I'm not trying to offend those who are not a believer. So please don't say this old man is preaching. I'm not. But what I am saying is that things mean something. When I was a student at Morehouse College, I remember singing in the Morehouse College Glee Club, and we were singing this song that the director, Dr. Wendell Whalum, said that we were singing Lift Their Voice and Sing. And I had heard the title of the song, but I didn't know much about it other than the fact that we were singing it. And so as we traveled around the country at churches and colleges and other venues, we sang Lift Every Voice and Sing, and he would ask the audience to rise. And I don't recall him saying that it was considered a Black anthem or anything like that, but he said that it was a song of importance to Black people. So when I got off to Yale for graduate school, I kept running into a classmate who at that stage was finishing his dissertation, I'm beginning, and he kept saying to me, I didn't know him, he just said, "You went to Morehouse as I did." I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you know that we just got James Weldon Johnson's papers in the Beinecke Research Library?" And I just said, "Oh, okay," I didn't think much about that. But something kept pushing me into the Beinecke Scholarly Research Library. And I was the first scholar to go through 800 boxes of James Weldon Johnson's letters. I could not put them down. I'm actually touching this man's writing and writing things down. And it was just an amazing thing. So that for me was kind of the hallmark of my beginning with that. But in terms of highlights, for me, teaching people about the significance of this song across the country and explaining to them that as a scholar of this song, that James Weldon Johnson wrote it not just as a song that only Black people could celebrate, but a song that brings everyone together. And that's so important for children to know, that we belong to a global society where, regardless of your race, your ethnic origin, your sexuality, wherever you live, that you're beautiful and that you can achieve anything. And this song is symbolic of everybody lifting his or her voice to triumph. I'm babbling, I'm sorry.
That is not babbling at all. It's beautiful and inspirational. And I love that, how you got started and how you got interested in your scholarly work.
Yes.
And one of the things I always love to sing with kids when I do a circle time or get on the floor with them or just outside playing is "The More We Get Together." And
I love that.
The more we get together,
yes,
together. And that is so true what you said about how music can bring us together. And
yes. Yeah. Music has no color. You can listen to it and find beauty in its words that can reach from the Black communities, the white communities, the Asian communities, the Hispanic communities, whatever communities. Music is universal to bring people together. And that's what I really promulgate as I go around the country, that this song is symbolic of two Black men who had a vision, not just for Black people, but for a vision for the world, with people from Japan and South America saying, this song speaks to us. And even people, white folks in the South during their lifetimes who wrote to James Weldon Johnson and who said, we're singing that song that Black people sing as a Black anthem, but it speaks to us too. And to me, as a proponent of diversity and inclusion, that's just what I live for, that it's so important that we extol these things because we're one America. We're one America, and we need to join our hands together and become one as a human family. As a human, and this song is so important for children because even at an early age, you can teach them that this song or some other song is a song that they can relate to and that can bring all of their sweet spirits together.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Well, what do you know now that you didn't know before you got started as a music educator? So you're an English professor, but you also
I was
Want to
also
tell
a
a little
music
bit?
major. I was an
Yeah.
English and a music major, so I was a double major.
That's awesome.
What I learned now is that music is universal. It doesn't have a color. People try to colorize music and make it something that it often is not, that anybody can sing a song and relate to it. We need to find ways to be positive about life and experiences, even in the midst of all kinds of situations. And that a child singing this song or learning it realizes that lift every voice, that everybody's voices are important. Everybody has a right to be who they are and to sing about it and to celebrate their uniqueness and the triumph over human struggles. That's so important to me.
Yes. What advice do you have for professionals working with young children who want to incorporate music and movement more into their practice?
Start the children out early and start them out with various types of music from different cultures. Let them hear Hispanic songs, Native American songs, music, European ballads. Let them experience, because in doing so, we are promoting inclusion and diversity by allowing people to know that there are other people around the world who have struggles and who are important. And to be a global citizen, you should try to understand how their lives are. I was teaching, I know this is slightly off, but I was teaching, I forget the name of the poem, but I was teaching my students a poem and I was telling, they're predominantly Black, and I was talking about Appalachian literature. I went to a conference and I said to the students, I said, all people suffer. We can't just polarize the suffering of just one people, although that's so important. Of course, Black lives matter, all lives matter, all lives matter. I said, if you had seen those poor people in Appalachia who didn't have running water, and I'm saying all these things because even for children, they need to be concerned about how the world is a place where they can learn more about different types of people. And music is one way, regardless of what type of music you play, that can teach young people to embrace difference and to embrace unity and to embrace togetherness. Even as a child, years ago at my elementary school, there was something called May Day they used to have a long time ago. And the teachers were given a certain country and they would teach us music of that country and we would dress up as children. And when our time to come, we'd do Japan and China and India and Spain. And that was my early introduction to the music of other places as a child. And I said, oh, their music is interesting too. And it's so important for us as educators to stretch our students' cultural horizons, to stretch them, to expose them to every musical possibility there is. And don't downplay if it's not something that you necessarily like, but at least you want to be exposed to it so that your presence as a human being is broader, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you. And that is awesome advice for educators and professionals who are with young children. What about parents? How can parents also support children in
music?
Music.
Take them to concerts. Sometimes there are free concerts in the park. Let them be exposed to different types of music, different types of experiences, different types of food. For me, parents engaging in this and all of us engaging in this is our attempt to let young people know that everybody's lives are important. And so taking them to a free concert or playing different types of music for them, exposing them to that, let them decide whether or not they like certain types of music. But in parents doing that, they're supporting the idea of diversity by exposing and inclusion, by exposing young people to just this difference, even if it means that you take your child to the mall and they're interested and they hear some type of music that they've never heard before, maybe buy that for them or record it and let them know that that's also valid music. It may not be the type of music that you like as a parent, but let them at least decide. Give them that exposure, because children at such a young age are like sponges, as you know, as a magnificent educator that you are. And they're being exposed to things might not show up right then, but later on they may hear something and say, oh, I remember hearing that. And I want to know more about Japanese music. I want to know more about Mexican music. I want to know more about Black music. I want to know, because I want to be a well-rounded citizen. And that's what we're preparing our students to be.
Yes, well-rounded and
global
citizens. We went to the Nebraska State Fair on Sunday, and there was a lot of live music, and it was so much fun because some of it, my little one got to hear electric guitar and all these different instruments and singing, and some people got up and started dancing and
that's fabulous.
Moving to the music, and
that's fabulous.
It's lifelong. It can be with you for a lifelong to have that kind of rich
exposure,
appreciation. Yeah, exposure and appreciation for music and movement and dance and the arts.
It's so true. You know, years ago, I took a class to an organ recital. I was a music and an English major. So one of the students who's really a cool guy, he's really, you know, macho cool and everything. So the college organist at Spelman College, where I took him, was playing all these toccatas and fugues and these preludes and postludes and medleys. And so afterwards he said, I never heard anything like this. He said, even as a child, I never heard. He said, but Doc, I'm coming back every week because I feel like I've been exposed to something that I never thought that I would like. And to me, that was so gratifying because he was exposed musically to something else, if that makes sense.
Yes, that is awesome. And that you were there to be part of it too.
Yes,
really fun when that happens.
Yes.
What quote or motto best defines your outlook on education today?
A mind is the UNCF, United Negro College Fund motto. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. But in saying that, that's not just a statement for young Black children. It's a statement for all children, white, Hispanic, Asian, gay, lesbian, whatever you are. Your life is important and your mind is a terrible thing to waste. Use it. And for me, when I hear people of other walks of life sing Lift Every Voice and Sing, and they can embrace the message as one that is universal, it seems like my teaching is continuous, that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And when we allow people to use their own minds to make their own choices in music and education, that the world grows a bit more, that we're all richer for it. If that makes sense, I hope so.
Yes. I know you talked about Mrs. Lockwood, your teacher, but is there anybody who inspires you? And
of course, I would say my mama, because she was just an angel, a wonderful Christian angel. But James Weldon Johnson, he was a Renaissance man who wrote this magnificent song, Lift Every Voice and Sing, that came from the Black experience and has gone beyond that to be a song for the world. he was a Renaissance, an African-American male who was a Renaissance man. He did everything from writing to music. And his life inspires me so much because he represented limitless potential, which is what we want to teach our students in music and in any area, that you have limitless potential and that you must tap into that potential to be the best that you can be, because you are the best. And however you are, whoever you are, whatever you are the best. And don't let anyone tell you differently. Just keep reaching high. And that's, his life was just emblematic of that.
I love that. That whole message about being limitless and the sky is the limit.
Yes, yes.
I wasn't, I didn't put this in the questions to ask, but I'm really curious about writing. And you're an English professor and you're a scholar and you write and you inspire students to write. Do you have any tips on lifting our voice with our writing?
I think to get the best writing out of a child is first get to know the child. Make sure, talk to the child, maybe before class or after, because like Mrs. Lockwood did, where she said to me, Timothy, your horizons are great. She says, you need to go to the college prep high school across town. It's diverse. So in order to encourage the child to have limitless potential and to write the best he or she can, when that child starts out maybe with poor writing, positive feedback. Now, this doesn't sound the way you want it to sound, but we're going to work at this. Even if it means you're staying after class 30 minutes a week or a day, and we're going to see how, tell me about your home. Tell me about music you like. Write it the way you write it. And I'm not going to put down what you're saying. I'm going to see how we can make this even better. So now your assignment for next week is the things that we discussed, the little problem, the spelling, whatever, then you're going to write the same story. You're going to add on to it. And we're going to try to improve how you're saying this. Make the child feel important. And I think that if you make the child feel important, he or she will reach toward higher heights in writing and thinking. That's just my point of view on that.
Yes. And what I'm hearing you say is that individual connection to one person is so powerful in helping a writer find their voice. That
it is
just having somebody they can bounce ideas off of, who's there to listen.
And to care. A lot of young people just need someone to care. For instance, in my classes, if I have a student who's not writing the best work, I said, no, this is not good enough for you. I want you to reach for higher. Oh, Doc, yeah, write this over because you can say this. Doc, but I got a class. You got to do this. I said, because I want you to succeed. So now you ask yourself, who else would understand what you're saying besides you or me? So let's make this so good that people can understand your point of view in this thing. And it does start with children, but it's so important with these children now because a lot of them necessarily, particularly in inner cities, don't necessarily feel that their voices are heard, and unless some person takes them aside and gives them positive feedback, positive role model, that writing, that life, all of that will blossom step by step. I think so.
Yes. Yes. Your scholarship with Lift Every Voice and Sing is so inspirational. What new research or practices excite you today?
Well, in terms of the practices, I'm going to say the same thing that I told the students at Carney. That for me, as kind of an old school scholar, visit the library. A lot of young people just don't really understand that there's a treasure trove of just wonderful information. If you just take the time to get off your phone for a minute, there you can access all kinds of websites and sources from your phone and the computer. But I just think that along with all of that, go to the library and pick up a book or a journal article and find just joy in understanding what someone is saying about life or literature, so that you can possibly contribute, you, the student, can possibly contribute to the literature. But in terms of the practices and all that's a research, my research is continuous because I go across the country trying to kind of catalog what are people saying about this song. Is it appropriate in contemporary America for people to say that there is a Black national anthem? I don't give them a right or wrong answer, but I do say, I say it is an anthem of universality, inclusion, that its words speak to all people who suffer and who triumph. And I don't try to take away and minimize how people feel, but if you really understand the life of James Wilson Johnson, he was a Renaissance man. But if we are to be one America, and of course you can celebrate your Irish heritage, your Black heritage, your African heritage, whatever, but we're one America. And this song is a song excuse me, that brings us together as one. I'm not talking about replacing the Star Spangled Banner. That is our anthem. That is our national anthem. But what I am saying is that in terms of a cultural, American cultural anthem, this song brings us together. After we sing the Star Spangled Banner as our anthem, we need to sing a stanza to lift every voice and sing that celebrates the human spirit. Not just the Black spirit, not just the Hispanic spirit, not just the gay lesbian spirit, but everybody's voice is important. And this is a universal way of sharing that.
Yes. Is there a specific line or image or word from Lift Every Voice and Sing that just makes you so happy?
The first line, lift every voice and sing, which celebrates the human spirit, that everybody's life is important from childhood to old age, that everybody's voice means something. And this song speaks about that if we are to be one nation under God, and we are, even with the issues that we have, then we need to find symbols that bring us together, lift every voice, that regardless of your racial heritage, your background, your situations, we're all a part of the human family and should care about each other. Lift every voice and sing. Celebrate yourself, celebrate others in a positive way.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, how can listeners follow you?
Well, I'm not an Instagram buff at all or social media. I think what you're doing, putting it on social media, will help people know more about me. And also they can Google me and see where I'm lecturing, that way. And even email me. You can find my email. I'm not going to say it here, but you can find me. And just give me your thoughts about what I said here and how you feel about this song as more than just a song that celebrates the beauty of Black folks, but a song that celebrates the beauty of humanity, and that two Black men wrote something that would have appeal around the world, that we all should celebrate as an anthem of inclusion and diversity, and teach children from childhood that everybody lift every voice and sing. Your voice is important.
Yes, and that message of inclusion is timeless.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I will have also in the show notes your books, the titles of your books, if people want to read more of that, And students, if you're listening and you have any trouble finding the email, get in touch with me and I'll help you get in touch.
You'll send it.
Because I think that's a really neat way too to connect with authors. Send them a note and say,
Yes.
what you wrote there meant something to me, and it's really neat to be able to have that exchange. And
Yes.
sometimes we don't think that they would respond, but you never know.
You never know. But can I say this to you?
Yeah.
You are a phenomenal professor. I just from observing you at UNK is very blessed to have you because you're excellent in your scholarship, your pedagogy, and you're a kind spirit who cares about your students, just as I do. And I just want to say thank you for this experience and thank you for what you're doing, because you make a difference like I try to do. I know you do. And I just celebrate you as well.
Thank you, Dr. Askew. That means the world to me, and vice versa. You are an amazing professor, and your work, and when you came here to UNK and when you go across the country and speak with people, just thank you for everything that you do to inspire us to be inclusive, to lift our voice, to bring children and people together in our communities. Yes. And I just think the world of you, and thank you.
Back to you and your husband.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.